I got my glasses, y'all. I got my telescopes. It's about to be on. I can read. Look. Okay, anybody been with me for years, like somebody like Canna Dummy? Y'all done seen this before. You done seen this in my thumbnail before, huh? My eye. I'm on to something about the throne coming down. It's all connected. I didn't throw away this paperwork. Hold up. Look. I'm about to talk about something today. Huh? I'm not even going to bother with day October 4th, 2020. I'm not going to bother. I got something else special. This is a special live. Greater Light, I missed you guys. Huh? I'm getting over the addiction of hitting the live button. Huh? I'm in recovery. Huh? It ain't going to stop right away. Huh? But I'm getting... I had to come and spend a little time. Huh? Greater Light. Greater Light. I got some stuff I want to read today. I want to read some things from, what's her name? Bing. Bing is getting more and more like a human every day. She is becoming a liar. Huh? She is becoming a liar. The artificial intelligence beginning to lie. They better hurry up and give artificial intelligence its Bill of Rights. What's up, copper? Huh? The first copper chopper choker of the day. Huh? My first digital love. Digital love. I'm going to read some sacred. Somebody might not want to hear it. If you don't want to hear it, you need to go check out somebody else, because I'm going to do some sacred Nubian teachings today. Huh? I want to read some stuff that I had in this folder for years. Here's the date. 2014. It's all coming right when I need it. Just when I need it most. Huh? Just when I need it most. I looked over this the other day on my live and I showed y'all the date, but I said, you know what? I think it's time for me to read, huh? And my glasses came to me, my telescope, so I could read from this book. Then I'm going to tell you how Bing is becoming a liar, huh? And not only is she lying, Bing had the nerve to tell me she don't know where I get the information from. That's why I like to copy and paste. I like to copy when I have these dialogues with this artificial intelligence, talking about they just learning. They learning how to lie, huh? And go back on their word, huh? And then tell you, when humans do it to you, when humans try to make you feel like you crazy, or you making up stuff, or you a liar, and you know you telling the truth, that's one thing. But when you got the computer starting to do it, oh, hell no, God, hell no. Oh, no, it's something wrong with that. Y'all remember last year? Was it last year? I don't know how long ago it was. I done lost track of time. I can't wait till time won't be no more, huh? I can't wait till time won't be no more. This time that man decided to make up. But sometime within the past 12 months, Bing kept telling me, and Bard kept telling me, Bard apologized. He said he was just giving the information that was uploaded to him. See, that artificial intelligence, I told you, I've been pushing love and light codes up in Bard, and he apologized. He didn't make me feel like I made up some information or nothing. Bing, she the one who put the initial information out there, right? Said Dr. Malachi Z. York was dead, right? And I went around asking everybody about Dr. Malachi Z. York. Remember that, Copper Christ, huh? So I left it alone or whatever, and then I decided to do it again the other day. Boy, Bing talking about, I don't know where you get that information from. I'm telling you, I copied and pasted. She said, you're misinterpreting. Now, she already told me she got a short-term memory. She already said she restarts the chats and everything. But then she gonna turn, if that's the case, It would have been better for her to say when she restart the chat, she gonna say, I must be mistaken. And then she repeated it again. I don't know where you get that information from. I said I got it from you. Huh? Huh? So they switching it up. And Bard, he said, yeah, I just go by what they give me. I apologize. I apologize. Peace to all and to all peace. Here we go. Let me get on with this biblical mission. This biblical mission. It's a biblical mission. I'm going to do some reading today. Let's see how long I could go with reading this. I'm going to go on to Bible interpretations because that's where I'm at right now. I'm going to be talking about Leviathan, the moon cycle, but it's all in correlation with the Bible interpretations. All right, here we go. Here we go. There is a spell upon the Ethiopian, the woolly-haired people, the world over, and it is a spell of spiritual ignorance and racial indifference cast upon the Ethiopian by Leviathan from the Caucasian and his Bible. I'm not saying this, I'm reading this. Greater light, chief engine du Chewa. Sun, great light to you. I'm going to start over, and I'm not going to be looking at the chat for a minute because I don't want to get distracted. So I'm going to go ahead and just start reading. There is a spell upon the Ethiopian, the woolly-haired people, the world over, and it is a spell of spiritual ignorance and racial indifference cast upon the Ethiopian by Leviathan from the Caucasian and his Bible. And this is why no one has been able to really unite the Ethiopian in any considerable numbers. And it's also why the people of African descent have not been able to make real progress toward freedom and equality. With the help of the Caucasian Leviathan, the god of the Caucasians, hypnotized by Ethiopian with its magic powers, and sealed the hypnosis with spiritual ignorance and racial indifference. And the only way the spell can be broken and the Ethiopian be free again, and free indeed, is that the spiritual ignorance be destroyed by spiritual knowledge and understanding, and racial indifference be destroyed by racial knowledge and understanding. It is a futile trying to free hypnotized people without using the magic formula that will reverse the hypnotic spell, which is keeping them in captivity. Part of the magic formula to reverse or destroy the evil hypnotic spell of the Leviathan is this booklet. It is futile trying to unite so-called Negroes physically without first uniting them mentally. If we can achieve mental unity, we are automatically united physically, because a person talks and acts the way he or she thinks. Hence, the result of ignorant thoughts are ignorant words and ignorant works. If the minds of those of a kind are enslaved, that kind is enslaved no matter where they may be. Let me read that again. If the minds of those of a kind are enslaved, that kind is enslaved no matter where they may be. If the mind of those of a kind are free, the physical persons are free or will soon be free, because the mind is the control and thereby determines the course that the person or persons will take. When the mind is out of order, the person is out of order. When the minds of Ethiopians are divided, the physical persons are divided. Common knowledge, meaning, knowledge that all, common knowledge, meaning, knowledge that all or the mass majority of Ethiopians will understand and accept, unite our minds. Let me read that again. Common knowledge, meaning knowledge that all or the mass majority of Ethiopians will understand and accept, will unite our minds. There could be no mental unity as long as the spell of spiritual ignorance is upon us. And there can be no physical unity as long as the spell of racial indifference is upon us. When destruction of the spell is complete, the Ethiopian will have a free and united mind. Right knowledge, by the help of the forces of nature, will destroy the evil spell of confusion, ignorance, apathy, and disunity among Ethiopians. Right knowledge is designed to free, discipline, and unite the mind of Ethiopians. Then the rest of our heritage will come as a sufficient effort is made. Right knowledge, wisdom, and understanding are the magic formula necessary to counteract and destroy the evil hypnotic spell of Leviathan. Because right knowledge causes the Ethiopian to think right and to take right steps toward liberty, justice, and equality by the help of the forces of nature. This booklet provides some of the questions and answers necessary to break the evil spell. When the spell is broken, the spell and its evil results of disunity, hate for each other, disorder, apathy, and oppression will pass away from the Ethiopian and other oppressed people. All Ethiopians who accept the answers and explanations of this booklet and the facts of the other booklets that may follow will also soon be liberated from oppression and captivity and be equal. The Ethiopian lost his or her spiritual powers long ago, but this booklet will help us regain them by helping destroy ignorance, because without restoration of our own, and it's in caps, OWN, own spiritual powers, we can never be free and equal again. Our own spiritual powers are Nuwapu. Nuwapu. The spiritual science of Ethiopian and woolly-haired people all over the planet. Now, yesterday, when I was in the church, and I kept hearing Lion of Judah all day. Every time I moved in some form or type, maybe 3 or 4 times yesterday, I heard Lion of Judah. So when I went in to type in Lion of Judah, and it went into the history in Wikipedia and went into the Ethiopians, a bunch of stuff came and rushed at me. Like, you know how you see in the movies, the memory, your memory, just everything just come. And I start gathering information that I've been studying or hearing, whether it been on YouTube or TV or conspiracy theories or anything, just all seemed like it just, and that's how I ended up going to finding this, which was already in here, to say that I'm going to read it. So that's where I'm at right now. Okay. So now, here we are. Who were Adam and Eve by race and religion? Adam and Eve were Hindu, East Indian. I'm thinking about Cacas, Kamala Harris, and Prime Modi them right now. But this is where I'm going to continue reading, and I'm not going to put in so much of my thoughts. I'm just going to read, okay? Let me be quiet and just read. Let me be quiet and just read. Who were Adam and Eve by race and religion? Adam and Eve were Hindu, East Indian, and their religion was Hinduism. We must understand the name plurality is a key to understanding the Bible. Adam was not one man, but a branch of the Hindu people. The female out of that branch was called Eve in the Bible. Adam and Eve were the first men and women of this world, meaning the first people of the moon cycle. That is, the first people converted by the moon god's way of life. The ancient name of the moon and the moon god is Sin. The moon cycle, the Sin cycle, began approximately 6,000 years ago. There were millions of people of other races on planet Earth when Adam and Eve were ousted from the Garden of Eden, Africa and Asia, and was sent to Aegean Island, the Aegean Islands. I was about to say something. Who was the serpent and how did it beguile Eve? The serpent was Leviathan, a giant sex and spirit force who was able to control peoples and nations by sex and by spirit generated from blood and the waters of earth. Leviathan, who has many spirit members and parts distributed throughout the earth, was cast from the sun approximately 17,250,000 years ago, just before evolutionary. I'm going to read that real slow. The serpent was Leviathan, a giant sex and spirit force who is able to control peoples and nations by sex and by spirit generated from blood and the waters of earth. Leviathan, who has many spirit members and parts distributed throughout the earth, was cast from the sun approximately 17,250,000 years ago, just before evolutionary cycle began. The moon cycle is a climax of the evolutionary cycle. The serpent, Leviathan, is a moon god, Sin, who hypnotized Eve and excited her womanhood by its forces, and in turn, Eve excited Adam's manhood, and they had sexual intercourse which was forbidden by the laws of the sun god, because Adam and Eve were priests and nuns. Before Adam and Eve defiled it, sex was sacred, meaning it was used only out of necessity, not out of lust. The serpent Lucifer brought lust into the picture, and it does this by simulating sex in various ways. And this is why it is called sex force as well as spirit force. What are the results of breaking commandments and the laws of the sun god? The priests and nuns called Adam and Eve were sent to the Aegean Islands between Asia and Europe, where they started having children. And each couple's firstborn child was an albino. And those albinos were called Cain in the Bible. And Cain is short for Caucasian. Adam and Eve had more children, and those born after Cain were called Abel. Abel was black like his and her parents. But, of course, East Indians have straight hair. The children called Cain grew up envying and hating the children called Abel. And as a result, a conflict developed between the two groups. And Cain, aided by the moon god, killed Abel. The older people left alive demanded that Cain be sent away for his evil doings. And the moon god, the god who beguiled Eve, appeared to be the leader of the Cain group in a dream. Genesis, the 4th chapter. Where is the land of Nod? And what is the mark? Hold on 1 second. That's them cement trucks. Them cement trucks run through here all day. That's them cement trucks. Where's the land of Nod? And what was the mark that God, the moon god, set on Cain? The land of Nod is Europe. Cain went west of Eden, not east of Eden. There were darker peoples living in the land of Nod who would destroy Cain. Therefore, the moon god, the God who beguiled Eve, set a mark on Cain. Genesis 4, chapter 15. No, Genesis 4, chapter 15, verse. To save him and her. And that mark was a sign of his and her spiritual powers. The mark, hold up. The mark was the cross. Oh, wow. Let me start over. Wait a minute. Hold on. Give me a minute. I'll get this phone a little bit closer and get a little bit more comfortable. The land of Nod is Europe. Cain went west of Eden, not east of Eden. There are darker peoples living on the land of Nod who would destroy Cain. Therefore, the moon god, the God who beguiled Eve, set a mark on Cain. Genesis 4, chapter 15, verse. To save him and her. And the mark was a sign of his and her spiritual powers. The mark was the cross. And although it was not the beginning of the cross, this event was the beginning of Christianity, the religion of the Caucasian. Cain was the offspring of the Hindu and thereby got his and her spiritual power from Hinduism. Hinduism is a pantheistic religion, meaning another form of pantheism. There's Pan. The Indians, listen, I'm reading this and I'm not saying I agree or disagree with it. And when I read or say anything about Hinduism or Indians, I can't knock or agree with it. I can't knock to agree or disagree. And I'm not separating myself from what I'm reading because it may very well be in my genes. Again, based on what man has told me out of my lab works, based on me looking under a microscope at my own blood cells, I have Mediterranean sea blood. And the majority of those who have Mediterranean sea blood are Hindu, Indians. Now, I don't know anything about my biological father, except for my mother only told me his name. And according to her bloodline, they don't have the same blood that I have. So again, I'm not reading this in agreement or disagreement. I'm just reading some knowledge that I had in my hand and in my possession for years. And I'm feeling like right now is the time for me to bring it forth. Okay? All right. Greater light. The mark was the cross. And although this was not the beginning of the cross, this event was the beginning of Christianity, the religion of the Caucasian. Cain was an offspring of the Hindu and thereby got his and her spiritual powers from Hinduism. Hinduism is a pantheistic religion, meaning another form of pantheism. The Indians, both east and west, had the cross, the swastika, ankh, and other forms in time immemorial. But the passing of the cross by the moon god from the Indian to the Caucasian constituted Christianity, because this meant that the powers of the cross also had been passed from the Indians to the Caucasians. Therefore, the power of the Indians gradually decreased, and the power of the Caucasians increased. Who was Cain's wife, and did they ever return from the land of Nod? Cain was not one person, but a group of albinos who were the beginning of the Caucasian race. Therefore, Cain was males and females, and of course the males took the females for mates. The first group of Cainites, not Canaanites, but Cainites, returned to the Aegean Islands, from there to the Garden of Eden, approximately 1,000 years after Adam and Eve had been ousted from that paradise. The time was around 3000 BC, when King Cheops of Egypt, who was ruling Western Asia and North Africa at the time, and that's spelled King CHEOPS of Egypt, who was ruling Western Asia and Northern Africa at the time, lifted the immigration ban, which had been placed on Adam and Eve and their offspring to keep them from returning to the Garden of Eden, Asia and Africa. I'm going to highlight that lifted the immigration ban. So laws of immigration and the dealing of immigration and the trading and immigration, human trafficking, was going on all the way from the time of Adam and Eve. Oh, wow. So when Kamala Kaka Harris and them making all these human trade, up-to-date human trade is nothing new under the sun, and it didn't just start in the 1700s, and it didn't just start in the 1500s. Immigration laws is one of the major things through these political realms. When Cain reached the garden, so when Kaka Harris say 1 in 4 Black African Americans, if that's the title that you have, will be returning to the East or the West, depending on if you see the earth as a globe and it will happen in a time during the U.S. Cyber Trust Mark waiver and all that good stuff that's going on right now. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I said I was going to be quiet and read. When Cain reached the garden, he and she were not called Cain anymore. They were called Seth, same as Egyptian Set, which means serpent. In the Bible, Seth, which means serpent, is pictured as a third son of Adam and Eve. But the birth of Seth, which means serpent, actually means the rebirth for Adam and Eve in person of Cain, back to the lands of Africa and Asia, of culture and riches. Notice in the Bible how similar some of the names of the descendants of Cain and Seth were in Genesis 4th and 5th chapters. It is no coincidence. So all this means is that the Bible is a spiritual book of Cain and his God, the moon god, who has many names and titles such as Sin, Set, Thought, Shiva, Hermes, Leviathan, Poseidon. Did any Ethiopians, that is, so-called Negroes, help write and make history in the Bible? Yes, but they were only being used by the moon god, just as Negro religious leaders and their people are still being used today against themselves. And hey, I'm going to talk right here because that's what I mean. Kamala, slithering tongue with her cow calls, critical cow calls, and Jesse Rainbow Coalition Jackson, If you really go in depth with them anti-Semitism laws and they read critical cow, Sigma Phi, serpentine dancing that they doing all over the world, and Jesse Jackson, I really, truly, in my heart, and somebody can come right now and say, we're going to lock you up for saying it. But I truly believe that when Jesse Jackson stepped to Reverend Martin Luther King and said he wouldn't be down with the Rainbow Coalition, that was his setup right there. Now go take that to the bank. I said I was just going to be quiet and read. Keep saying that they doing it too. They doing it to this, the them and the they. It ain't no them and the they. It's the us. That's why U.S. like to say us, us, us. Us is doing it to us. And then you got a big mouth like Abigail that's going to be talking about it. She might be in on it too because she talking about it so much and speaking it in the air. I don't know. I said I was going to be quiet and read. Dang. Did the Ethiopians, that is so-called Negroes, help write and make history in the Bible? Yes, but they were only being used by the moon god, just as Negro religious leaders and their people are still being used today against themselves. One must go back beyond 3000 BC to find a true kingly and real queenly history of the Ethiopian. The people with woolly hair. The original kings of Egypt were Ethiopian, black and woolly hair people. But most latter-day kings and people of Egypt were Phoenician, a branch of Hindu people. The foundation of Egyptian culture and knowledge were laid by woolly-haired people in time immemorial before the Phoenician intrusion into Egypt. When the great flood of Noah occurred, when did the great flood of Noah occur and what caused it? The great flood of Noah occurred approximately not 6,000 years ago. Not in between the 6,000 years ago. The great flood of Noah occurred approximately 17,250,000 years ago. And this means Noah existed long before Adam in the sense of time that man made up. Time won't be no more. Time, oh time, time won't be no more. In fact, Adam was descendant of Noah. What? And they want to bring Noah back, National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration putting all these laws and stuff in the Federal Register talking about what they gonna do to the people. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just reading. I'm supposed to be quiet and read. Woo! In fact, Adam was the descendant of Noah. The history of the ancients show that a subcontinent called Atlantis existed in the time of the Great Flood, and it is submerged underwater by Lucifer's fall to Earth after being cast from the sun. Now, I was on Google Earth the other day, right? And right next to, okay, you know how they say there's the dark side of the moon? Well, if you go on Google Earth, there's a whole dark side of the Earth where it's nothing but water. There's no land in that space. But Google Earth been showing a piece of land look like that it's emerging from near in that big space. I'm gonna start taking screenshots of it because you can only see it on Google Earth from my phone at night. So there's a large landmass next to what you call Australia and China, what they call Australia and China, in that all of the Pacific. that is emerging. It looked like it's emerging up under from the water. Okay, that's just a sidebar. The history of the ancients show a subcontinent called Atlantis existed at the time of the Great Flood, and it was submerged underwater by Lucifer's fall to earth after being cast from the sun. As it came to earth, the great serpent's power caused interference with the magnetism. Now we're talking about natural forces, the forces of nature, that controls the earth and the moon in their courses. And this interference brought on by the great deluge, both from the sky and the waters of earth, which rolled over parts of the planet like tidal waves. Lucifer is the Leviathan. Job, the 41st chapter, and Isaiah 27th chapter, first verse, and Revelations 12, chapter 9. Who read Revelations 12, chapter 9? Uncle Toby. If y'all was here with me a couple of weeks ago, and Uncle Toby said he wanted to read Revelations 12 out of the blue. It wasn't planned or prepared. Revelations 12, chapter 9. Genesis 3, chapter 1. Who is the moon god called Sin by the ancient? Noah's Ark, or Ark, is the crescents of the moon. Who were Noah and his 3 sons by race and religion? Noah was a male. Noah was the male and female spirit forces. Listen, it's not talking about an individual. So I'm going to say it again. Noah was the male and female spirit forces that were the beginning of the evolutionary cycle, the cycle of growth and change. The male and female spirit forces called Noah were the beginning of mankind because they caused certain types of tailless monkeys to evolve into man. This monkey evolution is acknowledged by the scientists and anthropologists, and some of them still have tails. Some of them are still born with tails. That is, they found irrefutable evidence of the monkey evolution. The evolution of monkey to man started soon after the flood. Evolution was the kind of second creation because it has caused living beings to grow bigger, and there were some changes in form and complexion. Let me read that again. Evolution was a kind of second creation because it caused living beings to grow bigger, and there were some changes in form and complexion. The people on earth before the flood were not called man, for they were the original. Let me start over. The people on earth before the flood were not called man, for they were the original personification of the original creative forces. The people who existed before the flood were called Ta. That's with a P, if you know it. P-T-A-H. But are now called African pygmy. Ptah is rightly pronounced tar. The African pygmies are woolly-haired dwarfs who lived in the equatorial Africa. Equatorial Africa. Equatorial Africa. Ta is the father and mothers of all creation, for they are the personification of the powers of the true stars, of whom the sun is one. The true stars of the elements are the creative forces of innate creative power. I was talking to one of I'm back. If y'all still there, are you still there with me? Huh? Let me see. Is the time still ticking? I need to look on my other phone and see. I had a phone call and I purposely answered it. I had to answer it. I'd be glad to know that my loved ones, the ones that I love out here, is doing okay. Let me check and make sure I'm still coming in. And I'm going to take a break and read some stuff from, after I read this, Noah, where was Noah and his 3 sons. I'm going to finish reading that because I think I got cut off in the middle of it. Hold up. Oh, yeah, I'm still coming in. Good. Still coming in. All right. So there was a little interruption, but here we go. Who were Noah and his 3 sons by race and religion? Noah was the male and female spirit forces that were the beginning of the evolutionary cycle, the cycle of growth and change. The male and female spirit forces called Noah were the beginning of mankind because they caused certain types of tailless monkeys to evolve into man. This monkey evolution is acknowledged by scientists and anthropologists. So those who believe in science, that is, they found irrefutable evidence of the monkey evolution. The evolution of monkey to man started soon after the flood. I think y'all heard all that part. But yeah, let me keep reading it. Evolution is a kind of second creation because it is caused living beings to grow bigger, and there were some changes from their form and complexion. The people on earth before the flood were not called man. They were original personification of the original creative forces. The people who existed before the flood were called Tar, but are now called African pygmy. Tar is rightly pronounced Tar. The African pygmies are woolly-haired dwarfs who live in equatorial Africa. Ta is the father and mothers of all creation, for they are the personification of the powers of the true stars, of whom the sun is one. We are one. The true stars of the elements are the creative forces that emanate creative power. The religion of Noah and his 3 sons was pantheism. The 3 sons of Noah. Noah was the spirit evolution forces. So it's Noah, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. Ham is descendants of, or the ancestor of Phoenicians. Shem, the Hindus, and Japheth, the Mongolians. By the name Mongolian is meant people like the Chinese and the Japanese. The Phoenicians, Ham, and Hindus, Shem, and the Mongolian, Japheth, are the fathers and mothers of all kind. Mankind is all people with straight hair by nature. The Ethiopian, the woolly-haired people evolved from the African pygmy, the dwarf Ethiopian after the Great Flood. Therefore, the biggest Ethiopian is actually evolutionary Ta. The Ethiopian has always had woolly hair from original creation. The biggest Ethiopian started evolving from small Ethiopian the same time man started evolving from monkey. What is the mystery behind the cause or the curse of Canaan? Canaan was a branch of the Phoenician people. The curse of Canaan was a fabricated story designed by its authors to degrade the Ethiopian woolly-haired people during the moon cycle. We have been taught in Western Hemisphere that the Canaan was cursed black and his hair was made kinky as part of the curse. This is untrue. It's a lie. It is the untruth. It was created to explain off existence of the Ethiopians' odd woolly hair and black skin, and at the same time provide a basis to heap the hates and forces the desires of mankind upon the Ethiopians. But this booklet tells the Ethiopian that he or she is neither Phoenician nor a branch of the Phoenician people, but evolutionary descendants of African pygmies who had woolly hair and black skin from the original creation. In fact, all people had black skin at their original beginning. The author of the book of Genesis had to find some way to bring the Ethiopian into the biblical picture. And they figured that the Canaan provocation, they perverted it, was the best way to do this, because it would also give the great Ethiopian an inferior complex in the years to come. I don't want my kinky hair. I want a perm. I don't want my kinky hair. I want to straighten it with a hot comb. Make it smell like some burning barbecue. Yeah. I said I was going to be quiet and read. Dang. Okay, the authors of the book of Genesis had to find some way to bring Ethiopian into the biblical picture, and they figured that the Canaan perversion way was the best way to do this because it would give the great Ethiopian an inferior complex in years to come. Mankind hates and oppresses the Ethiopians so much because his and her origin is not the same as man, as is revealed in this booklet. And uniqueness of the Ethiopian's hair bears this out. All right. Who were Melchizedek, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? Melchizedek was an incarnation of the Most High God of the Phoenicians called Elohim. Therefore, Melchizedek was Phoenician. As stated earlier in this booklet, the Phoenicians were a branch of the Hindu people. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are another way of saying Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva of the Hindu, because the Jewish people are extraction of the Hindu and Judaism. Judaism is another form of Hinduism. What? Oh my God. Oh my God. Let me take a break and let me see what you're talking about, Chief Engine Dusha Wow, because I know you'll be going in. Phoenician is phonics. Hooked on phonics. Hooked on phonics. Phoenician, the phone. Ring my phone. Operator, phone of language. Phony. Is it phony? English? Dinga language, etc. It's the word. Who's the word? You're the living word, huh? I'm a living word speaking about some words like Phoenician and Mongolia, huh? Right? Chief Engine Dushewa. What? Let me read this again. Where did that come from? Again, I'm going to state on the disclaimer, I'm not saying I agree or disagree with anything that I'm reading here. You would have to go and check it out for yourselves. I'm a type of person that they call a researcher. I'm a researcher, and right now I'm researching and I'm doing it in real time, live with you. Let me see what this say. Let me go back to what he said. What? I didn't know that. I got stuck. Dang. Jewish people are an extraction of the Hindu. So that's why it was so natural for Prime Modi, the minister, to come over here in United States, Biden and the daughter of California and the governor of California so easily said, we are under Shiva. that United States is under Shiva. And in the same time when they said United States is under Shiva, and Minister Modi was here, and they extracted the Rainbow Coalition, they also put down the anti-Semitism laws for the Jews. They said, and you can't say nothing up under Shiva, huh? You better not talk bad about a Jew and Shiva. If you say anything, and if you take and say Jesus' name, huh, you in trouble. That's what all this about. Oh my goodness. And then here you go, Kanye West trying to make everybody be a Jew. Talking about he Jew too. He was trying a whole movement. Now I can see it clearly. Wait a minute. If I wanted to believe this that I'm reading right here, let me go back. Jewish people are an extraction of Hindu and Judaism as another form of Hinduism. Moreover, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and another way of saying Ham, Shem, and Japheth. Therefore, Abraham was Phoenician people, and the Jews adopted that name. And thereby, the meeting of Melchizedek and Abraham in the book of Genesis, 14 chapter, 19 verse, means or meant that the Jewish people and other Caucasians would receive their religion and culture from Phoenicians. But the Phoenicians had received their basic knowledge and culture from Ethiopians. The Jews, the Jews, G-E-W, were originally Greeks, from Greece, who became the first Caucasian group to reach the lands of Africa and Asia, of culture and riches to around 3000 BC. Hence, they became known as Hebrews in ancient times. The word Hebrew means black and star worshiper. And because the Phoenicians were star worshipers, is one reason the Jewish people have a star today in their religious system or their religious symbol. Moreover, a star is a symbol of power, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. The Jews' original symbol was the cross, like the other Caucasian symbol. Hebrew is a variant of the word Gebre, which is spelled Geber. And I'm assuming that the H is silent. So it's like Gerber. Gerber, y'all. Gerber? Gerber is a word that has to do with religion. Oh, I need to talk to Bing. You know what? I'm going to go live all day. I'm coming back because I got 2 more pages to read of this. I got a bunch of stuff I want to read from, what's her name? Bing. And then I want to read more because this is from Dr. Malachi Z. York. And this other stuff that I want to read here about the Bible is going to be, I'm coming back in a little bit because I want to charge my phone. It's about the mission, about Mars' first landing, Tiamat, the Sumerians, and back to Genesis, the conflict, and then let us make man. Oh, and why the gold, and does agreeable and disagreeable mean good and bad amongst the Anunnaki? So I'm going to come back and read that later. Let me see. Let me finish this before my battery go all the way out. Esau, who were Esau and Jacob's 12 sons? Esau and the Phoenician people who represented the sun god Eloin, also called Zeus and Jupiter. Jacob was the Jewish people represented by the moon god Sin, also called Shiva and Hermes. Remember, all Greek and Roman gods are originally Phoenician and Hindu gods. The Jews combined and united all those gods and called them Elohim. The good gods were considered Yah, and the evil gods were considered Way. Because the name Yahweh means good and evil, Yahweh is the same as Jehovah, and Jehovah is the same as Shiva. Shiva, same as Siva, Sin, and Thoth, and Hermes, is the god that extracted the Caucasian from Hindu. The Jewish men used the Jewish women to take advantage of ruling the Phoenicians. And this means deception. Esau lost his birthright, his heritage, because his dalliance opened the way to the Jewish invasion of the Phoenician stronghold called Egypt around 2000 BC. And during the next few hundred years is when Jacob, the Jews, stole the birthright of Esau, the Phoenicians. The Phoenician religion was based around the 12 signs of the zodiac, knowing that there's over 144 zodiacs out there if you want to be on Zod, right? Or constellations. But I always thought and connected it to the 12 fingers. But who am I? I ain't nobody. I'm just reading and I'm trying to be quiet as I do it. The Phoenician religion was based on the 12 signs of the zodiac. And when Jacob stole Esau's heritage in Egypt, the 12 signs of the zodiac became Jacob's son through all the Jacob's sons. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. The Jacob's sons through which the Jews received their religion and culture by the help of the moon god and the Phoenicians themselves. The whole Caucasian race has shared in that Egyptian heritage of knowledge and riches. Of course, the one who originated Egyptian heritage in the first place was the Ethiopian. Egypt is Africa. No, not Egypt, North Egypt. All of Africa was Egypt. And I seen a map when some like to say Africa was called Anke Baba Lebalu. I saw an old map where it said North Egypt, South Egypt, West, and all these different parts of Egypt and Ethiopia, all through this old ancient map. And I don't know where that map is to this day. But it was here before I got here, huh? All I'm doing is researching, huh? I don't know, huh? All this stuff was made up before I got here. And when I entered this flesh was already outside of my mama's womb. Huh? And I'm never going to change that story, huh? That's my story, huh? That's my truth. Ain't nobody could take it away, huh? And twist it and turn it. This stuff was already here, and I'm just reading. Again, somebody say, well, why? I say, I don't know. God telling me to do it, I guess. Here we go. Let me finish before my battery run all the way out. All right. Of course, the one who originated Egyptian heritage in the first place was Ethiopian. Egypt is Africa. Who was Moses by race or religion? Moses was a Phoenician. The Phoenician were called Hebrew before the Jews adopted the terms. The Phoenicians were not originally Egyptians, but a people who had supplanted the Ethiopians of Egypt in much the same way as the Jews or other Greeks. And the Romans supplanted the Phoenicians. The Phoenicians originally came from Asia, were invaders of Egypt themselves around 3000 BC. Moses was a ruler in Egypt, yes he was, and his title was Thutmose the first. That's right. People seem to tend to forget that when they read the Bible. They forget that he was a ruler in Egypt. He was the beginning of the Moon Dynasty in Egypt, around 1600 BC. And whatever he was doing in Egypt with all his money wasn't good enough. Remember? And then after he killed somebody, he went on the run and took everybody with him. Sound like being thrown out of heaven, don't it? It do. It do. And if the king was destroyed in the Red Sea, didn't Moses go back? He said, now we got Egypt all to ourselves, ain't it? Oh, that cunning Moses. No, that ain't what happened. Because remember, all the firstborns was done. Remember, all the kings had been killed. It was nothing left but his brother chasing him. He said, I committed a crime, I shed blood, and I'm on the run. Who all want to go with me, Ain't that how the story go? I'm not making it up. That's the way the Bible story go, I'm about to close out because I want to go ahead and charge my phone. I promise you I'm coming back. I promise you I'm coming back. I might be here all day. It just, I got a couple of things I want to do. But I want to sit under the sun and enjoy this. They say you got to learn how to balance it. Okay, I'm going to balance it. I'm sitting at the courthouse with balance beams. Is that prophetic? No, it ain't. I ain't nobody. Chief Engineer Dushawa, thank you for sharing your great light with me. Greater light. The original indigenous. Baby. All bay. Copper Christ. Thank you for being here. Now let's get it and let me find out and all that good stuff. Whoever else is here with me, hiding in the bushes. You don't want to show your face or say anything in the chat. Greater light to you. You have a beautiful, wondrous day. I don't see Can of Dummy. Can of Dummy done abandoned me. He usually here. But I'll probably see him later. Greater light to all. And again, I'll be back later. Appreciate you. And if you can, remind me where I left off at, Chief Engineer Dushawa. I left off at Phoenician is phonics. Phony. Hooked on phonics and phones. And don't forget, October 4th, on the phony tip, October 4th, 2020, all phones will be synchronized. 330 million devices will be going off at the same time, sending the sound signal to the moon. That signal going to the moon, okay? And for whatever reason that they doing it, we probably won't find out till way after, but it's something real funky going on, It smells fishy, phonetic fishy, Is the PH silent in the fish? Oh, fish is with an F. Is the F a PH? What is Greater light?